YouTube, y'all already know who it is, baby. It's your homeboy, Skull Daddy, aka Skull Exotic, aka the Don Yugi Skull. I've done a deck profile on this archetype before, the Voiceless Voice, but thought to do another quick update and how I'm thinking about the deck post Rage of the Abyss, Rage of Abyss, Roto. I took this list out to locals last night, and I did take first place with this deck. First place, folks. It was a small locals of 10 people, 4 rounds of Swiss, but it was very, very competitive. 4 rounds. I could, right off the bat, frankly speaking, some of the players were top notch in the city of Toronto. City of Toronto, by the way, folks, here in Canada, Ontario is definitely a Yugioh city. We've got some of the best players in the world. Jesse Cotton is from Toronto. So my rounds yesterday were actually up against Konami judges as well, and I did take those wins home, which I'm very proud of. Yeah, very good deck overall. My general thoughts on the Voiceless Voice, this upcoming format post Rota, is it's going to be in a very, very good position with or without some of the new support. Obviously, you can, opt to play the new Mulcharmy card. I don't think we can play Dominus Impulse, but this list does play Dominus Purge, which is not as good of a card as Impulse, if you can play Impulse, but I digress. The decks come quite a long way throughout these formats, and it's definitely changed in terms of how it plays as of late with all these new supports coming out. But one of the reasons why I'm very excited on taking this list to even things such as YCS Niagara is in the Rage of Abyss format is it has a very good time playing into some of the new support such as Dominus Impulse or even the new Mulcharmy card, because we're going to be ritual summoning from the hand, not especially from the deck as much as a lot of other decks in the format. So yeah, I think the deck is very well positioned in the upcoming format, and yeah, without further ado, let's get right in. In terms of my matchups as well, yesterday, so I did win a round against Tempai, lost dice. I won 2-1. That was very good playtest round against a really good player on a meta-relevant deck. Round 2, I did lose against Fiendsmith's Snake Out, but it wasn't like a full shutout. It was quite competitive. It was a grind game. Yeah, the deck performed really well. I'll talk about where like some of the choke points in that deck is, and like where some of our cards play into really good effect. Round 3, I did beat Whitewood's 2-0 losing dice. And then round 4, I did beat Math Cannon Labyrinth. So that's that Math Cannon card that Labyrinth is now using. I do play Labyrinth. I have no clue how the cannon works, but I took the judge's word for it when he was resolving it and banishing my entire field and still being able to play through that. So yeah, I did win the dice on that one. I won 2-1. And ultimately, just based off of how Swiss works, I did end up in first place just because the gentleman that I did lose to ended up losing to somebody who just had really bad tiebreakers. So that did occur, and it put me in first place. So anyways, deck list. We got 2 Skull Guardians. 1 is too little. 3 is too bricky. Bread and butter of the deck, Beat Stick and an Omni Negate and a Searcher in the deck. We are maining 1 Pendulum Graph, really good for spell negates. MVP against Tenpai. It trades 1-for-1 against some of their breakers or even their quick play spell. And it can get you a free body out if you want. I'm not playing it, but I know some people do play it, and it's a great card. I believe in it. And we got the 1 Cerevis. Really good Solemn Judgment negate for summons, but also great protection card, almost kind of like a hand trap as well. And you do sometimes also get into some game states with this card where it actually can loop itself with the help of blessings, so you could do multiple summon negates in any given turn. Also, I had learned the other day that this can actually negate some of the summons against Tempai during the battle phase because their cards stay, after this card resolves, which makes those special summons inherent. So that actually came up yesterday during the battle phase, stopping like their very first synchro summon and ultimately shutting down a lot of their lines of play. So that's it for the rituals. We've got Lo, our main young lady in the deck. You'll never play anything less than 3. Diviner, ultimately your better normal summon. You don't want to normal summon this unless you absolutely have to. Diviner is just a better normal summon. One thing about Diviner as well that I want to talk about is there's been times where like I dump, Trias or Antas to break boards going second or whatever. And then it actually gains the level of this. So when you do use this to, sometimes you have like lines, even under a shifter, where you use this as tribute for ritual. And you're actually able to benefit off of not just using it for material for ritual summoning, but also you'll get an effect to special summon from the deck. So you don't always just have to tribute this off with your Trias. You can actually just go straight into like your Saphira ritual summon or your Prayers ritual summon. Use this for material and plussing off of it being used as material for ritual summoning as tribute. And then obviously the one Trias to accompany the Diviner package. We've got 3 Saphira. Some people have cut this down to 2 and played like a Bestial Magnamut. I totally respect that. I did try it out. I liked it. It was not bad. It does conflict sometimes with your Dominus Purge. So I just opted to play 3. I just felt like it's probably a safe bet. But Saphira is really good. 1 is too little. 2 is probably okay. But if you're going to play 2, I suggest you play the Magna as a hand trap / pseudo third copy. I do play the Old Man. There's so many game states where like this comes up. You don't want to open it. You don't want to open him, but when you are going to get into like some weird game states, he does come up. So for example, yesterday against the Labyrinth player, I had Lo, Skull Guardian, IP Masquerena, and then full back row. He Lava Golemed my IP as well as Skull Guardian. So immediately on his next card activation, or actually on res of the summon, I activated my my trap card, the Radiance, and I basically was able to bring this out, and then on his next card activation, I was basically able to spin this back up to my hand for cost and bring out another Skull Guardian to reinstate my Omni Negate, right? So you cannot do stuff like that without this. So yeah, food for thought, guys. Might be a brick, but you will get into these grindy game states where someone's trying to break into your board and you're required to reset either Lo or potentially a ritual, and you want to have the ability to interact against your opponent after you went, you set up your board. So that's where the Old Man comes in. It's also really good at resetting some of your spell cards if you absolutely need to use cards like Saphira on the crackback or anything like that. Awesome. So that's it for monsters. We've got barrier, 3 barriers, no explanation needed. We've got the 2 prayers. You can't do 1. 3 is too bricky. 1 blessings, and then we obviously have the Radiance. Very standard ratios. On the crackback, a lot of times if this is still on the field and you want to add something, I always recommend you add your blessings, because blessings could just tutor out anything from the banished or grave pile instead of having to access more resources from your deck. And then it also just gives you that ability to extend if you do go into a grind game state and you need to ritual summon during your opponent's turn, and you do get a benefit of, that indestructibility off the blessings ritual summoning. We're doing 1 pot of prosperity. We're also doing the Called by the Grave. And then we are doing 2 preparation of rites, some excellent starters / utility card. I went with 2 and 1 just because I felt like 3, like if you can max out on this, you might as well. It's a great card. It's potentially like a 1.5 card combo starter. But I just figured there's gonna be game states where just like Pot of Prosperity is just an even better card to just pick the exact card that you need after digging. And Call By is just really good against hand traps. And yesterday against Labyrinth, it actually came up as a really good end piece. He ended up pitching Arias, the Labyrinth Butler, to special from the hand or set a trap and even get to use it from the hand. I sniped it with this. He was basically down an extender. He was down a 1-card combo starter, and he was down really a card from the hand when he was trying to break into my board. So yeah, really good. Call By is just good in every deck. And then finally, we are running the Nadir Servant package with Maximus. It's so good, guys. I was playing this deck with Pot of Prosperity before the ban list, but I somehow think this is actually a more optimal package to run. Just simply because when you're going first, you're drawing, like Nadir Servant is Pot of Greed. It's a free body for ritual tribute, and instead of just Pot of Greed, it also can add you an additional search to get a ritual with Herald or a Herald of the Arclight, or to even get a ritual spell, which would be your prayers in this case. So it does so much going first. You can even like set up some like shenanigans where you can potentially tutor out some really cool boss monsters that I'll show you guys later on the extra deck that I've been using as like a potential win condition. But then going second is also quite amazing because it either acts as an Ash bait, but that's true also first and second, but it also acts as a board breaker, right? Let's say that you go Nadir and they don't Ash it. They're either dumb or they're anticipating that you have more to start your combos and they're waiting to Ash elsewhere, or maybe they just don't have Ash. They have, you know, maybe a set imperm or what have you. They've got a board set up. Nadir, when it adds your maximum, you're able then to dub cards such as your Entis or any of your Nadir targets, your Dogmatic Punishment targets, and as you're plussing off the Nadir Servant, you are breaking into your opponent's board and or developing your hand economy. This is really, really key. Love this package. Love it in this deck. And yeah, I'm at a point where like, if I see this card, I'm very, very confident in what's about to happen against my opponent. And it just doesn't even, you haven't even started playing it through your actual engine and you're already plussing off of this and or breaking into your opponent's board. Cool. So that's it for the main deck. We've got also now some utility cards. We got some hand traps. I run 12 hand traps. Triple Ash, very generic, no explanation. Triple Veiler. And then for the traps, we got the Imperm as well, Dominus Purge. You have to play this in this deck. It's so, so good. Against Tempai, this is just phenomenal because it's 2 Ashes against their monsters and against their quick play spell. Also, Dominus Purge, if you've already opened the amazing, dreadful against your opponent combo of Infinite Impermanence and Dominus Purge, this becomes 3 gammas in your deck. Like, that's pretty insane. Awesome. So that's it for the main deck. Let's go into the extra. And we're doing well on time. We're about like 50 minutes. So we'll start off with the Solomon Great Almirage and Secure Gardener. You have to play this package, folks. I didn't play yesterday for my first place win, but I wish I did. It did come up against the Tempai player where we were going into a top deck war and he kept negating low. So I had Dogmatic and Maximus and 2 copies of Nadir Servant in my hand. So it was kind of a brick hand. He didn't have anything to start his plays either. He just had hand traps and like utility cards. So what I could have done was normal low, negate it. Opponent can negate it, sure. Go into Almirage, go into Secure Gardener. Now all of a sudden, Dogmatica Maximus is live to special. And so that would have been pretty amazing. And he had one Ash Blossom in hand. So Maximus doesn't actually play into Ash Blossom just because it just needs to banish for cost from the graveyard, like the Salmon Great Almirage. So what I ended up doing just to cheat it out is I went, after I had two lows on the field that were both negated, they weren't doing anything, I had to use the Anima to go into SP to basically initiate my my line of play into Maximus. Yeah, but it would have been a lot quicker, and like it would have been good night a lot faster if I had just the Salmon Great Almirage and Secure Garden. And their effects for protection against battle damage does come up as well. So yeah, we got obviously the Anima, and then we have the SP. No explanation needed there. Really good utility cards. We're running IP Masquerena, Mondo, and yeah, that's it for the utility links. And then we also have for links Farigite, as well as Bucephalus, some Dogmatic and Punishment targets. I'll talk a little bit about the Bucephalus later on. For fusions, we've got Garura, draw one, double Entas, you do need two. And then for the spice, I've got a window package with App Cologne. We're going to actually be able to send App Cologne off of Maximus to be able to get Schism in the side and be able to actually have a layer of floodgating with the window. I really love this package. I think it is a very good like backup safe bet that just completely shuts down the deck. So yeah, just to kind of recap the Nadir Servant slash like, you know, Slayer targets. So we've got the Herald, Antas, the Garura, a lot of really good utility. Bucephalus, Brigade, and then of course we've got the Window Floodgate package. The reason why I've opted to play Bucephalus is you send Bucephalus off of Nadir, and then this sends Garura, so now you've got a draw one and an additional dark. Maximus drops onto the field, you just banish any one of them, then you still have a dark in the graveyard, and then you can send your Farigite and your Herald. This very common line to, sorry, your Farigite or Herald and your App Cologne, so that way you can not only chain block to get your Schism from the side, but you're also able to still, you know, push forward and reconfigure your hand to be able to play the ritual lines. That's why I did Bucephalus. It's just, it gives you that additional body that you need. Typhon, mandatory. I don't know if I talked about this. The video did cut out, but yeah, Typhon, great card. And yeah, that's about it for extra. Let's go over the side very quick. We've got the old school Molchari. Maybe this will be the new one if I get it. It's just very expensive right now. I'm not sure I want to spend the money. Solemn Judgment, an additional Omni to the end board. We've got Anti-Spell. There can only be one, and the Shadal Schism that we talked about. We've also got 3 Droll and Lockbird, and then the Spice of yesterday. This card was MVP, guys. Ultimate Slayer. I think in the next format as well, Ultimate Slayer is going to be really good against some of the Snake Eye fusion cards, like the Azamina stuff, because you can just spin it back. They can't respond with monster effects, and you can dump Entas to continue breaking into the infamous Snake Eye Fiendsmith board at this point. You have targets for everything. Like maybe XCs, like if you're facing a Caesar at this point, you have to dump the Typhon, which isn't ideal, but maybe you can, I don't know, you guys can figure out a way to fit Mario Logic that I haven't figured out. Mario Logic is a very good Slayer / Nadir target against High King Wave Caesar, if they do make that as an end board piece. But yeah, that's the best that I could do for now in terms of my extra deck and side deck options. So yeah, that's it for me today, folks. I wanted to keep this video short and sweet. Hope you guys enjoyed that deck profile. I've been, again, really loving this this deck, and I really think it has a good good shot at some good performance post Rhoda. And yeah, that's it for me, guys. That's Yugi Skull signing out. I'll talk to you guys next time. Peace.